For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and we'll see you soon.
I'm Sharon Reed. This is Indisputable, in for Doc today, and joined by the lovely, brilliant Yasmin Aliya Khan is back. And we're happy to have you. Okay. We're always, yes, I love it when you're on because you have a way of looking at things globally and then getting into the details. Things I hadn't thought of, but I generally agree with. So let's see what you have to say. You're welcome. Yeah, I think so. I do think so. And Doc trusts us together too. So let's get into it.
Quite an honor. Yeah.
It is an honor. Okay. We'll begin with an update for you. Diddy's ex shares new home raid footage. A lot going on here. A lot of emotions running high after seeing, what a mother sees and doesn't like. I want you to take a look at it and then we'll get into it.
This morning, a new inside look at the raid last month on hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs, who's now the subject of a federal human trafficking investigation. His ex-girlfriend, Misa Hilton, with whom he shares a son, posting this video, edited and sped up, showing armored vehicles in the driveway of his Los Angeles estate and heavily armed agents from Homeland Security investigations moving in, guns drawn. Two of Diddy's sons, Justin and Christian Combs, seen here detained and later released. It's protocol during searches, but Hilton posting the overzealous and overtly militarized force used against my sons Justin and Christian is deplorable. If these were the sons of a non-black celebrity, they would not have been handled with the same aggression.
Misa Hilton, Diddy's ex, mother of his son, standing in her truth. See what else she has to say. According to Atlanta Black Star, Sean Diddy Combs' ex, Misa Hilton, shared disturbing footage of the raids by Homeland Security at the music mogul's homes amidst multiple accusations of sex trafficking. Hilton is the mother of Diddy's 30-year-old son, Justin Combs, who was present at the raid on his father's home in Los Angeles. Here you see Misa Hilton. Here's what she said online. Enough is enough. Did Justin need several laser beams from firearms pointed at his chest? Did Christian need a gun pointed at the back of his head while he was handcuffed? She continued. How many times have we seen young, unarmed Black men not make it out of these types of situations alive? She's asking. She went further. My son's attorney, Jeffrey Lichtman, is investigating the excessive use of force, which was unnecessary and certainly not required by this search warrant. And we will fight for justice utilizing every imaginable resource. I'm not with the propaganda. Let's remind you what led up to all of this, because it was an extreme show of force, though none was ultimately used, thank goodness. Diddy was first accused in a federal lawsuit by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Last November it was. In the $30 million complaint, Ventura accused Combs of forcing her to have sex with other men and of sexually assaulting her. That lawsuit was settled the following day for an undisclosed amount. Several more lawsuits, though, were filed after three women and a man, producer Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr., accused Combs of sex crimes. Jones accused Diddy of drugging him and claims that he later awoke naked, dizzy, and confused in bed with Diddy and two sex workers. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend, Young Miami, is now being roped into his legal troubles, accused of transporting narcotics for him in additions filed Monday to Rodney Little Rod Jones' lawsuit against the rapper mogul. That's according to updated court documents. Now, Karesha Ramika Brownlee, age 30, is accused of transporting the drug referred to as pink cocaine for Combs in April. According to details added to the $30 million lawsuit, Rodney Jones Jr., the music producer, also known as Little Rod, filed against Combs in February. And 25 pages added to Jones's filing on Monday and obtained by The Hollywood Reporter. The suit claims the 54-year-old was partial toward the so-called pink cocaine, or 2C-B or 2G. I don't know if I'm saying it right, okay? I've never been drunk. I don't know. But this is apparently part of this allegation. It's what's in the suit. There's more. Other allegations against Young Miami. Young Miami has responded that she was a sex worker for Sean Diddy Combs. The city girl was recently named in one of several lawsuits filed against the rap mogul. On Thursday, March 28th, the Florida native denied being paid a monthly fee to provide sexual favors for Combs and others at his behest, a claim that was made by that producer, Little Rod, who has accused Combs of coercing him into having sex with himself and others. That's via Vibe. Young Miami says, "I'm no sex worker." Seemingly responding to users on X that believe the allegations made against her were true, Young Miami took to the social media platform to express her disbelief. "Y'all be going for anything." Koresha, please host, clap back at a post with one user suggesting that the artist would do anything for $250,000, according to Jones's lawsuit. However, Young Miami would deem the accusations as hearsay and the product of a rumor that originated online. Quote, "something the internet made up and y'all ran with it," 30-year-old responded. "And don't even pay that for child support. Why the would it and ever pay me $250K for what?" Okay. Young Miami has also provided proof that conflicts with Jones's claims that she transported pink cocaine. The claim stated that she transported the drugs from Miami to Virginia at Diddy's request prior to his appearance at the Something in the Water Music Festival in Virginia in 2023. On that date, though, well, a video might prove key in this allegation, at least key, perhaps in proving it's not true. Video shows her in New York being measured and fitted for the custom dress she wore at the 2023 Met Gala, which she and Combs attended together. This is getting messier by the day. Let's start with Misa Hilton, who didn't appreciate seeing her son cuffed and under threat of fire from federal agents. And I started to think about it when the mother, who has nothing to do with these allegations, made this post via Instagram. And I thought, well, maybe she's right. We know, Yasmin, that when the feds move in this way, with this triple coordinated raid, 3 different cities, bam, they're there. One, I think Miami, they came by boat. They do want to show force, send a message. Was this too much?
I guess it's hard to say. This story has been such a long time coming, right? We've heard whispers of what's been going on with Diddy for years, decades, even maybe. And this is the first time, really, that we're seeing anything come from those whispers and rumors. And as you mentioned, all those whispers and rumors were very graphic to begin with. So maybe it is a show of force that they're trying to be like, nobody do this anymore. But, for as long as I can remember, Diddy has been surrounded by a shroud of mystery and suspicion regarding what he does in his free time. Of course, nothing is confirmed yet as far as allegations against him, but I do have a feeling that this is just the beginning of this story. Now, all of that said, that's not to discount the point that his ex-wife was trying to make regarding her son. Unfortunately, it doesn't feel like she's bringing up this point about police brutality against a Black man with the best of intentions, because it seems like she's just trying to steer the conversation in a different direction away from Diddy himself, which feels, I don't know, like strangely opportunistic. I don't know if that's the right word, but she also discounted a lot of the allegations against Diddy as conspiratorial. Maybe she believes that, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, and there's some speculating that perhaps Misa Hilton, who I guess they had some child support issues in the past, but they were always settled and they seem to be a cohesive, have been 30 years old, the son now is a co-parenting unit. And there's some speculating that perhaps Diddy said, you got to do this, you got to do that, say this, say that. And perhaps she is. He supported a lot of people over the years. Or she could just be an angry, angry woman here. The piling on by Mr. Jones, Little Rod, could this be the final piece of the puzzle? Because you're right. These aren't things that have just kind of been, beneath the radar, so to speak. Diddy's been asked about these things over the years and has been playful with some of these allegations, Breakfast Club interviews, other things I've seen on the radio. He shows up and he's kind of unbothered by it. At least that's been the past. And now we know he's flying here and there. He's showing up at juice bars and the like in, Miami. and kind of just palling around with his friend Stevie J, another figure from the hip hop world. Do you think this time could really be it? Because again, now you have the feds involved in a big way. They're spending money here, lots of it.
Yeah, up until now, there was always this feeling that Diddy was so big, he was so massive in the music world that he was kind of untouchable. But what's happening now is we're seeing that he is touchable and we can get him in a lot of ways. And yeah, now that the feds are involved, which they really weren't before, I think we're going to see this story really start to pick up a lot of speed very quickly, especially over the next few months, probably. And I think that a lot of the pieces that have been trying to be put together for years up to this point are going to start to kind of take shape and form and make a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things. And that's kind of scary to think about. It's kind of scary because there's so many different allegations, there's so many different avenues, there's some headlines that I've seen already just in the last week that are very disturbing. But it all kind of doesn't make sense on its own yet. So it's a little scary to think about how it all comes together, if it all comes together.
Yeah, let's say this. It's not going to be her last time covering it, talking about it, speculating. I mean, we speculate with what we have, and we have a lot.
Speculation. Yeah.
Right. That has been presented here. Yet to hear the children speak in a meaningful way. Children, again, they're adults, but Diddy has minor children as well. And can he survive this? But the allegations are so salacious against Sean P. Diddy Combs that they're probably not going to knock this next story into first place. Okay. Diddy's going to get the headline, and everybody else is going to be somewhere down here and probably fade, even if the allegations are salacious in their own right. Talking next here about Kanye West, who's also having some legal issues, citing a lawsuit filed Tuesday by a former employee. NBC News reporting that Ye is accused of spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories in front of the staff and children at Donda Academy. Okay? Some pretty seedy stuff. It's his troubled LA area private Christian school. During a meeting in which he also allegedly expressed wanting to shave students' heads and lock them in cages. This is not one of those strange, if you want to call it art, videos that he's famous for. Presentations on stage in front of a packed, sold out arena. This is what they say he actually wanted to do in real life. 2 children. Let's talk about a text message to the former employee, Trevor Phillips. Ye? Is it Ye or Ye? Help me.
Yay.
I've not said his name so much. You just tell me. I said Ye. Okay. It's Ye. Whatever. Kanye compared himself to Hitler minus the gas chambers. Well, that's even for Kanye is wow. Appeared to simulate masturbation during a one-on-one meeting in a Southern California hotel room where the musician watched the Batman on mute. That's according to the 47-page suit filed in Los Angeles Superior Court. Again, NBC News with the reporting. Suit accuses Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, of calling out Black people in a discriminatory manner, praising the Nazi leader, pushing employees to do renovations without permits, and telling employees they could be fired for being fat and not with a PH. He temporarily stiffed workers after Adidas cut ties with the rapper over his anti-Semitic comments when bank accounts at the rapper's clothing brand, Yeezy, had been frozen. The lawsuit states Ye even gloated to staff at Yeezy, his fashion brand, and Donda Academy about using $2 million of the school's budget for a trip to Paris. He's just living out loud. Let's just keep living out loud in the way that we choose to live. It's what it reads like to me. Lawsuit alleges during a Sunday service at the school in May in front of dozens of people, Ye angrily told Phillips he was fired over an apparent issue with a garden at the school. When a tearful Phillips told Ye that his daughter attended Donda and that he was grateful for the job because of a potentially serious medical condition, Ye allegedly responded with an expletive-laden tantrum in which the musician disparaged Phillips and his child, then allegedly told Phillips, "I was going to punch you in the face." How do you work like this? How do you teach, thrive in, these are allegations, this kind of condition? There's more. Per the suit, Phillips, who was hired in November 2022 to work on a vertical integrated crew for the musician's clothing brand, continued to work for the rapper until August, when Donda shut down. Tuesday's complaint, filed by attorney Kanye seeks more than 35 grand in damages, alleges discrimination, retaliation, wrongful termination, and other claims. Now, NBC notes Phillips' allegations add to the troubled and bizarre portrait of Donda, where former employees have said students were allowed to eat only sushi for lunch. Windows were empty because Ye didn't like glass, and chairs, artwork, and outside books were banned. How many applicants did this school have? I at least think windows, it can't be optional. But here, ban, glass ban. Accusations are included in previous lawsuits from 3 former teachers and an ex-assistant principal who alleged discrimination and wrongful termination. One of the lawsuits has also named Donda's predecessor, Yeezy Christian Academy. A trial in one of the suits is scheduled to begin next year, April 2025. A lawyer for the rapper has previously dismissed claims about Donda, saying the former employee's descriptions of the school as a dystopian institution designed to satisfy Ye's idiosyncrasies were false. It's almost unfair for me to even ask you, where would you like to start, Yasmin? But you have to swear that this is your truth. You file this with an attorney, and there are multiple people in different cases. Now that part's linked to what's going on with Diddy, and there's no, sexual assault and stuff, although the masturbation thing isn't Batman on mute. That's not too positive of an allegation, but these are people who presumably were not working in concert over a number of years, filing these suits with these bizarre allegations. Can't we glean something from that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many patterns of behavior that people demonstrate over the years, and somehow they go unnoticed, right? We have patterns of somebody like Donald Trump not paying his workers, and yet somehow people still decide to go work for him. My first thought, whenever I was first reading about this story, was who are the parents sending their children to the Donda Academy? And things like this are upsetting because, I'm not a parent, but I imagine that a lot of being a parent is about trying to make the best decisions for your child as possible based on whatever wisdom or resources are available to you at any given time. And that alone can be scary because even as adults, you're constantly learning about yourself and about the world around you. And you may feel differently about certain things as far as maybe how to raise your children, right? What's the best way to do that? But I guess in my effort to find some kind of understanding around all of this, Kanye West has been a giant figure in the Black community and in the music industry for years. He professes to be a Christian with strong family values. He professes to fight for the rights of children. So I can see how someone would grow up idolizing a man like Kanye and then thinking maybe he knows something about life that I don't. So when he opens a school, they think, oh, let me send my kid there. But he's not an educator. He's just a celebrity, right? He's a musician. He's been demonstrably unstable in his own family life and in his music career, in his political career, with his close relationships and friendships. And as much as I try to empathize with these parents, it's difficult to do so because, again, there are patterns of behavior that people display and you cannot ignore them, especially when it comes to your children.
Yeah, I think you're pretty generous, and you could be right about why, some of these parents may have been committed to this academy, Donda Academy.
I'm giving a lot of the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I tend to think that celebrity's a hell of a drug. And his ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, is part of that addiction that we have in this society. And I think that some of it could be as simple as I want to get next to that. And maybe my kid will be in a music video or be discovered. That's probably unfair, but there's so much wackadoodle-do here, okay, Yasmin, that I make it make sense. You know, if someone says, would you like Donda? First thing I do, and I mean, it's a full-time job going around to these schools. You take tours. Then, because the journalist in me, then I have to call other parents. I start investigating the school. See, there's only what they show you, okay? Oh, the food here's great. We have a chef. And then, you got to look under the hood. So maybe I would accept the invitation to see what's going on here. Maybe you would apply. But once if you just call some other people, why'd you leave? And, I don't know why this is just so appetizing for some.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think I do try to believe that people wouldn't, send their kids to an education facility, right, to a school. And this is, something that shapes the entire rest of their lives, right? I have strong memories of my elementary school days, things that were instilled in me, values, things that I still hold with me today. All those teachers, it's such a pivotal time in anybody's life that I really, really hope that parents aren't sending kids to Kanye's school because they want to get close to celebrity. But unfortunately, I do think you're right that is probably a big motivator. I'm just trying to believe better.
Well, maybe they thought that was best.
Myself,
and it could be 6 of one, half dozen of the other. We both could be wrong. Maybe something started out fresh and good and innovative because, other schools have tons of problems, systemic problems, even public schools, private schools. So maybe they said, you know what? We do need this diversity of thought and diversity in some other areas. I just don't know. But you're talking about kids in cages, what? Kanye?
Well, I was going to say that's a normal pattern of behavior, especially observed over years at a time, right? You have something and it's good. Over time, it gets worse, in this case, the public school system. And then people say, no, we need something very different. We need something radically different. And next thing you know, Kanye West opens a school and they say, that's it. That's the answer. And then they try that for a little bit. And then they have to kind of find a balance somewhere there. So that is a normal pattern of human behavior. Unfortunately, sometimes it can, those pioneers, those first people who are going out and trying out the new thing, sometimes they can get hurt and sometimes those people are children.
Yeah, pioneers. I don't know. And I don't blame victims. And that's what you would be if you show up at a hotel room and your boss has the Batman on mute and is masturbating. I then would excuse myself. But that, again, I'm not blaming the victim. I'm just saying I cannot think of any reason you'd be doing that. That's just me. I don't think of any reason. This is me. Food for thought. Interesting. Something we'll keep following. This is indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed, alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan. In for Dr. Ricky today. Much more to come.
You're about to watch some behind-the-scenes footage of the Young Turks.
Ooh.
Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member. Go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind-the-scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey. Hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Such a big fan. Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there.
so I can see Bart. And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. I refer to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT? Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Welcome back to Indisputable, alongside the lovely Yasmin Aliya Khan. We are in for Dr. Richie today, who said, you know what? I need a day off. You ladies can handle it. He doesn't micromanage us, not even me. And she makes me better. Remind people quickly, we'll just take a beat where they can find your great work.
Yeah, so you can find all my Rebel HQ content on the Rebel HQ YouTube channel. I just did a crazy video for today. It'll be out probably later today or tomorrow about Donald Trump and his fight against the windmills and his fight against the nation, against Scotland nation. And also I have a podcast called Modern Context. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm currently working on part 2 of my Ireland story. So it's very
We'll love
interesting.
it. Yeah, you always have good content, but interesting stuff too. Your take on things. So I love it. We support you. It always does quite well.
Thank you very much.
You're too young. I'm sure you're too young. And I pretend I am. There was, well, before I get to that, teaser, okay? This is what I do. And I didn't take any medication this morning. So it's going to be what it is. Let's get some comments first, Yasmin. Okay. Moni P says, oh, yay, dynamic duo. Gorgeous, smart ladies. I know they're talking about you, and I think I'm in there too. Okay. They like what we're doing. Okay. They like it. Lynn says, and I was doing the damage report right before this show alongside John, which is always fun. Lynn says, sometimes we get a double dose of Karen. Today we get a double dose of Sharon. Okay. You do. And I haven't approached anyone. I have gotten in a few people's business today, but not really out loud, just between us. I have gotten into several people's business today, unpacking different stories, but that's part of my job. And let's see. Mo Fury says, who the hell is sending their kids to a school owned by a guy who has compared himself to sexual predators and Hitler? That's an excellent question, Mo. And I don't know how to answer that. Apparently there are some people who are doing it. Maybe they didn't see that part of the personality. They didn't hear that particular outburst. One more for you. Trista says, this yay story reads like the confessions of a sociopath. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, what can you say? Certain allegations in that lawsuit, if true, just allegations, it's an accurate assessment, if true. We are going to move on. And this is what I started to say. There was this famous video, White Snake, I think it was. The group in Tawny Katan was on the hood of the car and, being all sexy, not like this, but professional sexy. Okay, even Yasmin laughed. I tried it, maybe it was, whatever. If it's famous, may she rest. She did that thing. And I want to believe that this next installment, perhaps someone was trying to recreate it. Lots of women tried that, That's how good it was when Tawny Katan did it. This may perhaps be something a little different. We'll see together. I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday?
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I'm trying to talk to you! Open the door, I just want to talk! Oh my God.
Now that did seem like it was a scene out of on a Hollywood set. I've been on some of these studios. They have certain sections and cars that are part of that period, but a stunt double would do something like that. A stunt double would pull this off. This Karen laying on the hood of the car. Why? Why? Because she just wanted to talk to the driver. I don't know, cell phone? There's a lot of other ways you can do this. But laying on the car like this, make it make sense, Yasmin. This is not Tawny Katan.
Yes.
That's not what she did.
Whenever you open the story with Tawny Katan, I was laughing so hard because I knew the story that was coming up, and what a hilarious comparison.
Yeah.
This girl wishes Tawny Katan. There are so many other ways to engage someone in conversation, but at some point you kind of have to be like, oh, maybe this person doesn't want to talk to me, and just back up, maybe take a minute, take a beat, try again later. Do not lay on that person's car, especially when they're behind the wheel, ready to drive and the car is turned on, That's a great way to get yourself physically hurt and also emotionally hurt. Protect your feelings. Don't try to force people to have conversations that they don't want to have.
What we saw was bad enough, but I think that you can deduce certain other things, okay? someone who does this and kind of is like, well, that's what I talk to you, has done out there things before. I don't know the relationship between them, but this kind of thing, that's why this person, and I don't think it's right to take off, could have killed her. But that's why, because you've done this cry wolf thing a lot, perhaps. Am I wrong?
I mean, but that's the other thing, for the person in the car, yes, they're the one wielding the car, but that's still a threatening situation for that person who's driving. I wouldn't want to be the person in that car with somebody climbing on my hood, So what do you do in a case like that? So
here she drive off and she goes running. She wasn't hurt. So we can, again, don't try this at home. And maybe they were filming a movie. You can film a movie on your iPhone.
Maybe it was a TikTok.
Did we stop to think of that? It could be a TikTok. Our team really, no joke, looks under the hood. And I think this is a legitimate Karen. But I'm just saying, you can film a movie on your iPhone and perhaps, I don't know, it could have been that kind of scene. More likely.
They're making a movie. Some random parking lot. Yes.
Maybe. When Karen's attacked, and there'll be a sequel too. Stunning. We'll keep you posted if we learn any more about that Karen. But beware, okay? If somebody jumps on your car, don't engage. Don't roll the window down either. Don't engage. We'll move on. This is far worse. Charlie Kirk. Women in their early 30s are not in their prime. I don't know why I'm saying their prime. I'm saying we're not in our prime. That's how I'm going to say it. You're talking about me? Let's get into this. But first, let's give you some proof of performance here.
We've basically told a great generation of young women, don't get married, don't have kids, go get a corporate job. And it's created mass political hysteria. And then in their early 30s, they get really upset because they say, the boys don't want to date me anymore because they're not at their prime. And people get mad when I say that. Well, it's just true. If you're in your early 30s, I'm sorry. It's like you're not as attractive in the dating pool as you were in the early 20s. But again, you have your corporate job and cats. So I thought,
Shut up. Okay. What they said was, don't marry you. Okay. Don't work for you. Don't date you. That was what people, loved ones told them. Young, gifted women, beware of Charlie. Okay, well, as media's touch reports, speaking at one of his faith events at Fervent Church in Las Vegas, Charlie Kirk ranted against women making career choices and not getting married early, boldly stating that women in their early 30s are not in their prime, not as attractive in the dating pool. Okay, users online. And I love what the caption says. Look, I don't believe in making fun of the way people look. There's plenty of other material out there. And I don't, what fresh hell is this? Is what the caption, Ruth Kitty, 2012, I'm asking the same question. And I'm already formulating, oh my goodness. Bill DeMaio, what have you done here? Mr. Potato Head really shouldn't be talking about attractiveness after 30. Appears to be altered in some way. I can't tell how far they went with the alteration. Another user noted the age of his wife, which is 35, before adding, me think she won't be too happy about this. Then again, she married him in the first place. Mrs. Kirk also happens to be a former Miss Arizona. This is interesting. All right, listen. This guy, this is what he does, okay? And he gets our attention in the most negative ways. Not the only comment from the event that was of interest. Watch.
Now he's saying, get your kids off birth control. And praise God, they shouldn't be on birth control if they're your kids.
No Christian parent should ever allow their daughter on birth control, ever. Period. That is, and if your daughter's on birth control or granddaughter, get them off immediately. And birth control like really screws up female brains, by the way. Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control. It increases depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation. Birth control is the #1 most prescribed medication for young ladies under the age of 25. They will give young ladies birth control for pimples, for acne, to control their moods, their period. It is awful. It's terrible. And it creates very angry and bitter young ladies and young women. That bitterness then manifests into a political party that is the bitter party. I mean, the Democrat Party is all about bring us your bitterness and, we'll give you free stuff. It's like we'll trade you, bitterness for stuff, essentially. That's like the Democrat Party.
Well, he's diagnosed it, hasn't he? Birth control creates bitter, really, he's saying hostile, angry people. Now we know. At some point, he must have cracked open a pack. He must have got a hold of some women's birth control, cracked open a pack, and consumed, I'd say, triple the dose, okay? Because he is very angry and appears to hate women. I'm, again, formulating a picture of how Charlie became Charlie and what Charlie pursued in order to gain certain things that perhaps if that was a real high school picture, he was not going to be in the same circles with. This is just the way I'm thinking about this. Yasmin, I picture him as a guy who was dissed by women, and perhaps some were beautiful. And they didn't diss him because he wasn't good looking. I told a friend just the other day, women can fall in love with anyone. We really can. And you don't even know anymore. You could be with someone who's drop dead gorgeous, okay? And then see the real them. And it's about more than just leaving your towels on the floor. You have some monster tendencies, and I'm not interested. I don't even know if you're attractive anymore. And I think for him, he got turned down. He's bitter. And no matter who he's married to now, I think he rose to prominence because he fought for it in order to be relevant and important and have people scream his name. That's how I picture someone becoming this. Or maybe he did crack open a pack of birth control and down it. I don't know. But these are the two theories that I'm competing with in my head. What say you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if Charlie Kirk himself is on birth control, but yeah, it is interesting to think about how someone ends up a certain way. And you can say that about anybody, Charlie Kirk, me, you, whoever, right? But I mean, okay, there's so much to cover in like those few clips that you just played. Which women was he even talking about, first of all? The women in their early 30s who are still single, that's their prerogative. And I obviously can't speak for all women, but as a woman who is in her mid 30s, I'm 35, I'll be 36 this year. If I ever ended up single again, let me tell you, I'm not worried about whether or not I'm attractive in the dating pool. The dating pool is not attractive to me. I know it's out there and I'd rather just stay single,
Yeah.
Also, is he talking about physical attractiveness or marital attractiveness? Because I'm not going to talk about my looks, but I certainly feel better now
beautiful.
in my 30s than I did in my teens or the 20s, But as far as marital attractiveness, I probably am less attractive now in my 50s because, I know who I am. I can't imagine a conservative man with conservative ideas wanting to marry a woman like me. I've certainly learned a lot about men and their place in my life as I've gotten older. And now I'm more stubborn now than I was when I was younger. And that's saying something. You can ask my parents, they're watching. So, but, and then there's the birth control thing, right? So, first of all, who is taking parenting advice from this kid, from Charlie Kirk? Second of all, there are plenty of actual reasons for parents or just people in general to be wary of birth control, right? Reasons for people to become educated on the topic and make whatever decision is best for them personally, right? And those conversations are happening in different corners of the internet, but not this one. This corner is just two men talking about Jesus and why have women's bodies enter the conversation. That topic should be discussed by doctors, gynecological health professionals, not Charlie Kirk.
Yeah,
and also,
none of the above.
It's such a weird, disingenuous way to stick it to the Democratic Party. Also, it's like a weird, illogical stretch, right? And it makes you wonder why why they have to work so hard to make whatever points they're trying to make. He's trying to say that Democratic people or just women are mean and bitter, and he has to go all the way back to birth control to justify that assertion that he's trying to make. It doesn't make any sense. And let me tell you, there's a lot of reasons why Democratic women might be mean and bitter. There's a lot of reasons why that could be. Birth control is probably the least of those reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the follow-up question should have been, how long have you hated women? Okay, this is...
And why? Like, is he married? Is he happily married? You know?
Yeah, well, I think we know the answer to the second one. It might not be admitted, but they can't possibly be. You've gone out of your way to abuse, verbally assault women who've done nothing but, again, my supposition is reject you. They rejected you. And I don't think you're stubborn at all, dear. Okay. And I think whoever raised you allowed you to become this confident woman who makes her own decisions. And most men who are confident as well see a partner that they would want, not someone that they would want to rule over. Okay. That's what I think. Insecure men would say, she's difficult and she's going to probably hold the remote sometimes, and I'm not going to allow that. Okay.
There's a lot of men out there like that, you know, and a lot of them will present as very liberal and very open-minded, and then you're just like, oh, but you're not actually that. So.
Yeah, I'm very cave-like, primitive. Okay, got that big, I don't know, turkey leg or something that you're just devouring it in a way that I'm not hungry anymore. That's who they are. Okay.
And you also made a good point when you said, you know, people can fall in love with all kinds of different people, right?
Yes.
If you're nice, if you have a good value system, if you're funny, everybody thinks that women, when they say that about men, like, oh, we like a funny guy, that we're joking. No, one of my biggest Hollywood crushes is Conan O'Brien, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's got that flaming set of red hair. It's thick. He's very tall. I once had to cover some things over at NBC, and I ended up, you know, going to the show before Jay Leno stole what he stole from him back. He's so tall.
The drama. Oh, yeah.
He's just so tall.
I saw him one time too. I went to a taping, and I ended up right front and center. It was crazy. But when he came out, we gave him a standing ovation. And I'm 5 feet tall for reference.
Yeah.
I was wearing heels, but he was so big that I leaned back to like make space for him because he felt so big, you know, like physically large, you know.
Funny guys are the best. They really are the best. And I think Conan's a good guy. I don't know if you know, Larry David's funny.
So as far as
I don't know if you could fall for Larry David. I sometimes watch the show on repeat, and I think
for Larry David.
I love him because I think he's true to himself. I think he is that guy. Okay.
I do watch a lot of Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. This is indisputable. I'm Sharon Reed alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan. She's got a lot to say, a lot of things of value. And it's making a lot of sense to me. Okay. And I hope you're enjoying the show. Much more to come.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier, and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power, it makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution I believe that there is. Real frontrunner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
Biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks.
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covered.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks.
It's time to break down the myths of the right wing, the political elite in both parties, and the establishment media. Myths like the media has a liberal bias, hilarious, or America's a center-right country, preposterous. The truth is that the American people are progressive, and no matter what party or media elites say, justice is coming. I've written a book that makes this clear and shows you we're gonna get it done. It's called Justice is Coming, and you can get it anywhere books and audiobooks are sold.
Tell me about the shirt you're wearing.
Pretty much speaks for itself. What's the penalty for treason? Death. Everything was phenomenal under Donald Trump, and now it's Obama calling the shots right now. It ain't Biden.
So it's Obama calling the shots?
I believe so. None of this would be happening if they hadn't stolen the 2020 election from Trump and we the people.
If you could have an option of 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president, what would you choose?
Donald Trump.
In for Dr. Richie today, this is Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan. We love being together. We have fun on this show, and there's some serious stuff coming up, but I just love it when they pair us together and say, you guys take care of it while Doc enjoys a day off, takes care of some business. So
yeah,
appreciate you very much.
Yeah, I think I said that whenever you're here, it feels like when Dr. Richie's out, like there's a substitute teacher.
Yes, and we just don't necessarily follow the lesson plan, but we get through it. Okay, we get enough of it done. Yeah, double recess
done.
Yes, and I don't care if you want to eat at your desk and chew gum. What is that? But what do I have to do with that? Okay, just don't hit each other. Don't throw anything that's going to hurt somebody. If you want to spit balls and stuff, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Let's get to some viewer comments. Lynn, love you. I always read Lynn's comments. She always has something good to say. TYT member Lynn, Karen. Remember that Karen who was, I don't know, not doing a Tawny Tan impression, clinging to the hood of that car. Karen is a frustrated hood ornament. Indeed. Okay. And a lot of you went off on that, but Charlie Kirk first. Women in their early 30s are not in their prime. Kyle CH says, isn't this what CNN sacked Don Lemon for saying? Partially. I'm not sure they even know why they sacked Lemon, and predictions are it's going to end up right back there. All the people that sacked Lemon are no longer there. So is it really CNN anymore? I don't know. Mo Fury says, I don't know, Kirk has really grown into his forehead. That one picture, it could have been real. Okay, not the second one, but the one picture with the underbite. It could be. People get things done. They grow into things and become more confident people physically, mentally, emotionally. He's maybe one of the three. Yeah, I give up, says Charlie Kirk wants to increase teenage pregnancy. About Kanye's school, Donda Academy. C. Michael Henson, thank you always for your contributions. Sorry, Sharon, but as a teacher and parent, this Yay West story got pushed to the top of my radar. I would not teach at or send my child to a school. Emphatic. Yeah, you're being emphatic. And one more from C. Michael. I imagine the driver, talking about that Karen clinging to the hood of the car, used the Jedi mind trick on her, told her, okay, come to the door so we can talk, then drove off when he got the chance. That's probably what happened, because this is going to last all night and you're drawing a lot of attention to us, and who knows what's going to happen here. The Popo shows up and now we got a whole situation, because when the police arrive, that's when Karen is on. That's when she's giving her monologue. So you got to get out of there. I get it. This next story, I don't get anything about it. It's painful. There's video showing a kidnapped teenager being gunned down by police. Per the Daily Beast, newly released video shows the moment an unarmed 15-year-old Savannah Graziano was fatally shot by police in Hesperia, California. This was almost 2 years ago, after she had allegedly been kidnapped by her father. Just devastating. Let's give you the footage that was released by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department.
Shots fired. Units back up. Take some cover. We have zero backdrop on the southbound lanes. Take your cover. Get up there. Shots are being fired. Shots are fired. He's continuing to shoot at the deputy. Girls out. All right, girls out, guys. 1702 is out. She's out on the passenger side. Does anyone else have eyes in the vehicle to see if we have any other passengers inside? Oh, no.
We will now play a belt recording from the deputy closest to Savannah when she exited the pickup truck. You can hear him calling her over and telling other deputies that the person who exited the truck was the passenger and for them to stop firing, but it was too late.
Passenger, get out! Passenger, get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Passenger, get out! Get out! Come here! Come here! Come here! Come here! Hey! Come here! Come to me! Come to me! Come to me! Come to me! Come! Walk! Hey! Stop! Stop shooting her! He's in the car! Stop! She's okay! He's in the car! Stop!
Devastating. A little girl trying to just take instruction in the middle of chaos and indiscriminate shooting. And maybe that's unfair to say. September 26, 2022, Savannah watched her father, 45-year-old Anthony Graziano, shoot and kill her mother, Tracy Martinez, estranged wife, outside of school, after which the father reportedly abducted the teen and went on the run. Amber Alert was issued. The cops tasked with rescuing Savannah spotted Graziano's truck the following day. After a high-speed chase lasting some 70 miles, San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies boxed in the vehicle on an embankment off a freeway in Hesperia, roughly 80 miles east of Los Angeles. Shots were fired at the pursuing deputies from inside the truck, some of which authorities claimed had come from the passenger side where Savannah was sitting. The Daily Beast with some details for us. In video footage released by the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department pursuant to a records request, officers can be heard saying that bullets are flying, telling others to take your cover. Savannah is then ordered out of the truck by deputies. She exits from the truck, crouches down on the highway shoulder. She was reportedly wearing tactical gear. Although her attire is not clearly visible, in the aerial footage. Still on the right shows what Savannah was last seen wearing before the incident from a gas station security camera. As Savannah begins walking toward deputy, she is gunned down. The deputy who was shouting at her to walk towards him now begins to yell at his fellow officers, and the police dispatcher can be heard saying, "Oh no." Savannah was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Her father was shot and killed at the scene. Deputies said they recovered numerous guns, hundreds of rounds of ammo, flashbangs, smoke grenades, tactical helmets, and body armor from Graziano's truck. Savannah's uncle told The Guardian that his niece didn't have to die. There needs to be better training so that unarmed people aren't killed, CJ Wyatt told the outlet. Hopefully this video can be used for training. Something has to be done differently. And maybe we need to start there and go backwards. CJ Wyatt, the uncle who lost such a wonderfully filled with hope, because that's what 12-year-olds are. Even one who apparently was existing in a domestically challenged family. You don't just go kill a mother and abduct a child if there's not something else going on in the family. I'm conflicted because of the tactical gear police say that the child was wearing. Amber Alert issued, though. You knew you were looking for a child, and you knew that someone had just done, you believe, something heinous in shooting down the mother in front of that child. Perhaps getting eyes on the vehicles where I'm headed doesn't necessarily mean everything has to be a chase. A more tactical approach, perhaps, catching someone when they can do less harm, catching someone off guard. This is all, sure, hindsight, but I'm just not willing to say that this had to go down like this, Yasmin.
Yeah. So she was complying, the little girl, right? She was told to get out of the car and to walk towards them, and then they shot her. This will seem irrelevant, right? But you got to bear with me for a minute. I got a speeding ticket recently, so I'm currently doing defensive driving, right? It's taking me a while to get through it, though, because it's so mind-numbing. It's 6 hours long. I've done 4 hours of it so far. But apart from being so boring, it's actually a little bit maddening. And the reason why it's maddening is because it almost feels like propaganda, right? It acknowledges how dangerous our system is by design, and it emphasizes how much personal responsibility is required from so many individuals at any given time, all at once, right? In order for people to not get hurt or die. And instead of building a better system, instead of acknowledging the flaws in the system and building it better, their solution is just to, just pull people over for speeding one by one and make them take this course and make sure everyone is doing everything absolutely right, absolutely all of the time, so that other people won't die. And they know that that's an unrealistic expectation because they're constantly giving you stats about how many accidents have happened because of X, Y, or Z, and how many people have died because of X, Y, or Z. And in this story, at the end of it, at the end of the Daily Beast article, they're telling you, you know what? They need better training. It was a quote. It wasn't the author who said that, but they said, these cops need better training. We have to train our cops better. And I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying that every cop, absolutely all of the time, there is no room for error, because in those errors, people are dying. 15-year-old girls are dying. And it's not a good enough argument to say, oh, this was a bad apple. Oh, this was a bad incident. Oh, this was an accident, because people are dying, right? Yeah. So fix it, find a way to fix it, fix the system. They have these guns, they have lethal weapons that they have access to, and they're just way too trigger happy with it. And the solution is, we have to address the trauma of the cops. We have to make sure that emotionally they're in a right place all the time. We need to make sure that the cops are controlling their emotions in these very, very stressful situations. It is unrealistic, and we know it's unrealistic because we see that it's not working. People are still dying unnecessarily.
And again, I acknowledge I might be being unfair using the word indiscriminate. I heard just shots coming from everywhere, and I'm not excusing the suspect, now dead, But if you're just shooting, you didn't even know who that was you were opening fire, but you knew the father had kidnapped the daughter. You knew that. And at least one of you laid eyes and recognized. And I just am not willing to say there was no way out of this. Track him. Don't corner him. He's already done this. Figure it out. Hotel, sleep breaks, something where life can be preserved. And if any police officers, and look, some police officers do TYT, okay? Dr. Ritchie hears from them too. Mm-hmm. It's just a uniform for some people, but that's not necessarily this group think that they're interested in, and they will tell you, and maybe they're screaming at me right now that you've never been trained, you don't know what you're talking about and when you get in that situation, and maybe they're right. But I'm just saying, if there can't be a better way, then what are we doing here? Would she have been better off another day or so with this madman? I don't know. But we'll never know now, will we? I'll give you the last word, Yasmin.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, that's exactly what I was talking about. You know, I know a lot of cops personally, beat cops, and I know people up at the city level and the county level. And I'm not going to say that they're bad people, or I'm not going to say that they're bad at their jobs. What I'm saying is that if these accidents are happening far too frequently, far too often, right, then do something about it, right? We cannot rely on these cops being 100% perfect at their jobs 100% of the time, because that is completely unrealistic. You and I are not 100% perfect at our jobs 100% of the time. In our job,
63% here. I mean, I don't even know from 63% today. You know, but you're right.
That, and we have far less stressful jobs than these officers do. So all of that needs to be taken into account. But so much of the systems that we have in place right now try to act like all those human emotions can just be tamped down forever, all the time, every time. And we know that it's not possible. We can't do that.
Yeah. It's devastating to see that. Again, a records request. They didn't probably want to release that like so many other things, but I agree with you. More training, figure it out, please. So a 12-year-old who's already experienced such trauma stays with us. It's devastating. We're going to move on. How about one other thing, Yasmin, before we move on? You know these officers, you have these people that you're familiar with in law enforcement. They should have helped you get out of the ticket. Now, I'm just going to say that. They should have got you out of the ticket. I had a friend who had to go through that 6 hours of, do you really care about safety, or is it the money? Because those programs are expensive and right.
And I don't speed that often. My parents are watching. They're gonna contest this, but no,
I believe you. Never been in the car with you, but you don't look like the type who does it. I don't believe you're burning rubber. Yeah,
I cruise control.
It's just one thing, and who knows if their radar was right. Okay, now I'm going down.
I also am bad. I'm also really bad at asking for favors like that. Yeah. So I'll never ask.
Oh, I don't either.
If I have a cop, I would never be like, hey, I would never.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this, and then we'll move on. If it happens again, and again, I don't believe you were speeding, and if you were, so what? You would have slowed down. But I want you to just, as soon as they roll the window down, and just say, "Oh my goodness, please give me a ticket. I deserve it." And I can assure you won't get one. Take it from a friend. You won't get it. You just say, "No, please, I want you to give me the ticket."
That's a good line.
That's what you do. I can't believe I did this. And when they let you up, say, "Well, thank you. You be safe." Okay.
I did get out of the ticket one time by acknowledging. He just asked me, "Do you know why you pulled me over? Why I pulled you over?" And I said, "Yes, I know." And then he commended me for my honesty.
Right. I know what I did, and you're in charge. Okay. All right, we're going to move on now. And I hesitated to get into this one because now the back end of the show, we've got these ones that are difficult for us, but this is part of what we do here on Indisputable. 2 unarmed Black men beaten by cops in Madrid. I need you to take a look at this. This is crazy. We can already say this is a crazy scene even before we know more details. Crazy. According to The Guardian, the video shot on Friday, Spain, it appears to show one of the men on the ground and immobilized by a police officer who seemingly has him in a chokehold. Just won't let go. Second police officer appears to then strike the immobilized man twice with a baton before grabbing and punching another man just standing there nearby. The word aggressive is not enough. As video of the encounter swiftly spread across social media, a police source told the Europa Press news agency that the two men had been arrested for undermining authority. They'll put that on the books soon in Mississippi and Alabama here, if they're not already on the books. Source described the men as being hostile towards the officers and said one of the officers had been injured. What, was his arm sore from so much swinging of that baton? One of those arrested was later found to have drugs on him, the source claimed. Were they his drugs or, well, never mind. Spain's Interior Ministry announced on Monday that it will investigate a violent police attack on reportedly unarmed Black men in Madrid. Police violence in the multicultural neighborhood of Lavapiés. Don't know if I'm saying that correctly. It was caught on film, denounced by left-wing politicians and anti-racist groups in Spain. A News with the reporting. Let's turn to local politician Seringue Mbe, telling Spanish daily El País that the men in the video will denounce the incident and ask for the full footage of the event as captured by CCTV cameras on the streets. Mbe added that they were both involved in handing out food to young men in the neighborhood and insisted that they experienced the violence while they were minding their own business. Could have been anywhere. Minneapolis. Meanwhile, Jose Luis Martinez Almeida, the conservative mayor of Madrid, told local journalists that he trusted the police. Have you ever been beaten, Mayor, while you're minding your own business? Putting a WWE only real chokehold? Unless there's evidence to the contrary, didn't we just watch it, Mayor? I thought we just watched it. I have total confidence in the security forces. That's what they are. And therefore, we'll have to see that report. Then we'd have to decide, if necessary, any consequences that may arise. Jose Luis Martinez Almeida. I can tell you what the report's already going to say, and the mayor is already moonwalking back from any consequence to those involved in this. We should just skip the report. Let's save the trees, okay? Save Wi-Fi too, if there's such a thing. We don't need a report. We don't need internal affairs. We already know how this is going to go. Too cynical, Yasmin?
Too cynical to what? Skip the report? We'll
am I
see.
being too cynical after watching that? It just looks so much like home.
Yeah. It's interesting because this is such a common story that we see here in the United States. But whenever you see it in a different country, it's interesting to see how other countries and cultures deal with things because the context is different, right? You can't necessarily put American context surrounding racism and police brutality on the Spanish people or the Spanish culture because, the history is different, the circumstances are different, the challenges are different. Still, that's not to say that prejudices can't be exported from one culture to another. And that's not to say that, things can't present themselves organically in more than one place, like racism, for example. And, we'll have to see at this point how Spain reacts to this and how Spain addresses this, right? We know how these incidents usually go down in the United States. What we saw in the video seems very straightforward, right? It seems very unforgivable. We'll have to hope that Spain is better than we are typically at dealing with stuff like this. At least if people are speaking out against it, they don't want to see this happening there, and that's promising. But so far the response could have been better.
Yeah, and I think you're smart, you study things, and you do note that we as a country have a different history than another country, and you can't just always make that correlation. I guess what I'm struggling with is, Yasmin, we live in a global world, and I'm starting to feel as a brown person like this disrespect has spread enough that when you go somewhere, wherever you go, as a Black or brown person, you are suddenly viewed as less than. There's very few places that you can go. I can think of a few. But this is the way I feel. And maybe that's my own life experience that I'm presenting and pushing back out into the world. But I feel like there's racism there, big time, and they don't value us just based on that one clip. That's not fair, but that's the way I feel. Last word to you.
Yeah, it's very scary, especially because, this is Europe and, that's typically a friendly place that a lot of Americans like to travel to. And a lot of Americans, especially, Black and brown Americans, we see ourselves as Americans. So I think we kind of carry ourselves abroad with a little bit of that in us. But at the same time, whenever we travel, we have to understand that the local culture might perceive us in a certain way. They might not be used to us. I've been to Spain and I had a lovely time there, but of course I didn't see anything like this,
Yeah. Well, that's important too. Your own experience. I've not been.
It really does make a big difference,
Yeah.
I was in Japan and I was, the only brown person there, and they wanted to take pictures with me, which, that's
So lovely.
that's its own thing,
Hey.
But yeah, hopefully when you talk about a global society also with globalization, whenever you learn about globalization in college, in your economics class or your government classes or whatever, they talk about it like it's such a good thing as far as commerce goes and capitalism goes, right? You want to, share all the goods and you want to share the cultures, right? Unfortunately, with that, sometimes you get some bad parts of the culture too. So maybe that could be a factor.
And this was jarring. Let's move to, let's take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break and come back with more. I'm Sharon Reed in for Dr. Richie today, alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan. Much more to come. Welcome back to Indisputable. Sharon Reed alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan. We're going to get right into this next story. In Texas, a woman jailed for self-induced abortion sues local DA. Per the Texas Tribune, when Lizelle Herrera, now Lizelle Gonzalez was arrested and jailed for self-inducing an abortion, 2022. Her name and mugshot were made worldwide news. 3 days later, the Starr County prosecutor, however, dropped the charges and was later disciplined for bringing them at all. Sounds like a stunt to me. But according to a new federal lawsuit filed last Thursday, the damage had been done. The suit states the humiliation of a highly publicized indictment and arrest has permanently affected her standing in the community. So now Gonzalez is suing Starr County DA Gosha Allen Ramirez and Assistant DA Alexandria Lynn Barrera for in excess of $1 million for the deprivation of liberty, reputational harm, public humiliation, distress, pain, and suffering she experienced as a result of this prosecution. The Tribune reports prosecutors typically have wide-ranging immunity, but the lawsuit alleges Ramirez and Barrera waived that when they undertook the investigation of this case and misled the grand jury. This indictment and the alleged abortion happened before the overturn of Roe v. Wade and the state's near total ban on abortion. At that time, abortion in Texas was prohibited after about 6 weeks of pregnancy. Gonzalez was 19 weeks pregnant when she went to Starr County Memorial Hospital after allegedly taking an abortion-inducing drug. Texas Tribune with the details. But Texas law then and now does not allow murder charges to be brought against a pregnant person who undergoes an abortion. There was no grounds for Gonzalez to be indicted for terminating her own pregnancy, which Ramirez acknowledged after Gonzalez spent 2 nights in jail. Lawsuit says Gonzalez is bringing this suit to vindicate her constitutional rights and to hold accountable the government officials who violated them. The Tribune reports an investigation by the State Bar of Texas found Ramirez sought to pursue criminal homicide charges against an individual for acts clearly not criminal. Ramirez agreed to pay a $1,250 fine. His license will be held in probated suspension for 1 year. On Friday, Ramirez told the Associated Press he had not yet been served with the lawsuit and declined comment. I thought you liked to jump the gun, Ramirez. Why not just shout off and say something? April 2022, when Gonzalez was first arrested, and as the Tribune notes, few details were made public, but the new lawsuit has provided additional insight into the timeline of events. According to the lawsuit, Gonzalez first went to the Starr County emergency room in January 2022, 19 weeks pregnant, and had taken Cytotec, also known as misoprostol, to purportedly induce an abortion. She was still registering a fetal heart rate, so she was sent home. Next day, she returned to the hospital by ambulance, complaining of abdominal pain, vaginal bleeding. There was no fetal cardiac activity, and she was diagnosed with an incomplete spontaneous abortion before she delivered the stillborn child by C-section. At some point between those January visits and late March 2022, the lawsuit says employees of Starr County Memorial Hospital told the Starr County District Attorney's Office about Gonzalez's attempted abortion. Allegations were investigated directly by Ramirez's office, not the sheriff or the local police department, according to the filing. Barrera and Ramirez then took their findings to a grand jury. Lawsuit says they presented false information and recklessly misrepresented facts in order to pursue murder charges against plaintiff for acts clearly not criminal under the Texas Penal Code. Gonzalez was arrested for murder April 7, 2022, incarcerated at the Starr County Jail on a $500,000 bond. Her arrest made international news and mobilized activists across the country, led by organizers in the Rio Grande Valley. That lawsuit says she was taken to the hospital while incarcerated, although it does not say why. Gonzalez was released on bail organized by national advocacy groups. 3 days after she was arrested, Ramirez dropped the charges. In reviewing applicable Texas law, it is clear that Ms. Herrera cannot, should not be prosecuted for the allegations against her, Ramirez said in a news release at the time. Now, this did little to quell the attention, though, on this case, the lawsuit says, because the charges stem from abortion, a hot-button political agenda. The dismissal of the charges, it did not result in any less media attention, it says. Rather, the media attention was heightened after the dismissal due to the fact that the prosecution was frivolous. This is outrageous. And you don't have to pick a side in this whole abortion debate to know it's outrageous. They lied. Fraudulent charges, frivolous. And I want to say, in all the stories I've covered, prosecutors have done this more than you think with this secret grand jury thing, okay? And then you just drop it. But you know what? She's not going to drop it, and hence the lawsuit. I have to say, Yasmin, this is a huge, mind-numbing, heartless, well, it's a cruel political stunt, as intended. They wanted the attention, and here was their prop. This woman desperate not to have a baby.
Yeah, so this is exactly what we said would happen as far as these self-induced abortions go, right? We told them that this would happen. We told them that women's lives would be endangered by banning abortion. And they either said, no, that won't happen, or they acknowledged that it might happen and they didn't care. Yeah, these lawmakers, they take no responsibility for the laws that they make, and more accurately, they don't take responsibility for the agendas that they push, right? They're supposed to be the ones who think about all of the things, right? The possible complications with the laws, the repercussions of it, how these laws will actually affect the people most affected by the law. But they don't do that. These lawmakers and justice workers, they're just evangelists, really. Yeah. And they're mean and they're entirely lacking in compassion, which to me makes them seem less than human. Yeah. That's how I feel about it.
I couldn't agree more. It's a story we're going to have to keep following. We'll gladly keep following. And I hope that this lawsuit, if these allegations are true, if she prevails in a big way, it's not going to help peel back clock of what happened to her. She can't go back in time. But I also think these two that were sworn to uphold the law and apparently decided to break it and just do their own thing, evangelist is a great word for it, I don't think they should be in that position. They've abused power, and we've seen too much of it. Another for you. A man charged after restraining children with cable ties. Yes, you. Per multiple reports, 45-year-old Mitesh Rodelick, Western Australian AC contractor, has been charged with aggravated assault after he allegedly tied 3 Aboriginal children together with cable ties outside a Broome, Australia home, forced them to sit in sweltering heat earlier this month. Per reports, the contractor had allegedly caught the children swimming in the pool at his parents' vacant house, which had been put up for sale. Last Monday morning, Rodelick appeared in the Broome Magistrates Court facing 3 counts of aggravated assault. He did not enter a plea with his bail extended and the matter adjourned until April. Police were called to the home about 2:15 p.m. March 5th for the alleged trespassing incident to find a 6-year-old girl, a 7-year-old boy tied up. Police later found a 3rd child, an 8-year-old boy, who they said had been detained but fled before police arrived. In a heated Facebook video, 2 of the children can be seen sitting next to a garage tied up as the man argues with bystanders who are encouraging him to untie the children. Children can be heard crying in the footage, which was live streamed before police arrested the man. Children remained restrained despite the pleas of bystanders. Officers called St. John Ambulance to assess the children, who were reunited with family members soon afterwards. One of the women filming later told local media the children had been crying for their mother. They were frightened. They were crying, shaking, singing out for their mom, she alleged. We were yelling at him to tell them to release them. Next morning, Western Australia Police Acting Assistant Commissioner Rod Wild said the 45-year-old man, who was subsequently charged, called police to say he had restrained 3 children. Police would allege the force used to restrain those children was not appropriate, you think? Wild would state there is a power under that Criminal Investigations Act to make a citizen's arrest where people can be restrained. There are some conditions around that. The police have to be advised forthwith and attend and take over. Continued. Whatever force you apply to arrest someone needs to be reasonable, given the age of the person involved, the vulnerability, and all those things that be taken into account by the court. In this case, it's the basis of the charges that it's disproportionate to what is reasonable in the circumstances. Again, the acting assistant commissioner, Rod Weil. He said after they went to the house, they investigated 45-year-old man taken into custody at a Broome police station where he was subsequently charged with 3 counts of aggravated common assault. The man granted bail is due to appear in court at a later date. The Guardian filling in more for us. Police had spoken to the children's parents, investigating the allegation made against them for trespassing, he said. Children under 10 are not going to be criminally responsible, period. We're engaging with the children's parents. They're certainly keen for the court process to run its course. This is outrageous. And I think part of the lead must be Aboriginal children. Could care less about them. What is their crime? Took a dip in the pool to escape the Australian heat. I'm going to turn it over to you, Yasmin, because I'm just disgusted, justifying it as people are saying, can you untie the children? They had them like they were cattle or something, and I don't want you to treat cattle that way.
Yeah. It says a lot. I know Australia has a long history in the way they deal with their Aboriginal community. I don't know what goes on in Australia like that, but I don't care where you are. How could this ever possibly be considered a reasonable way to deal with children, right? They might be brown children, but they're children and they're crying. What kind of person sees children and thinks, let me zip tie them? If you need to manage the children for whatever reason, give them an iPad. That'll occupy them for a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just like what you were saying with the last story. The trauma of this incident will stay with these children for a long time, if not for the rest of their lives. And that's just not fair to them.
I think of a child's mind, scared. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know if he's going to do more. Maybe they're not going to make it out of this. All because they want to take a dip in a vacant home's pool.
Yeah.
My first thought would be, I don't want them to hurt themselves. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But this is, look at your life, Australia, I guess. But at least enough good people were there to say, not today.
Yeah,
and at least we had that police commissioner who said, nope, we'll follow it for you. It has been an absolute pleasure. Quickly, Yasmin, tell people where they can find your great work. One more time, remind us.
Yep, you can find me on the Rebel HQ YouTube channel. I have a little Yasmin playlist. You can see all my videos there. And also you can check out my podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, Modern Context. That's it.
We love Modern Context. And I go to your playlist often. I do. And I try to pick up some tips. Okay. We love you. We appreciate you. Until we're back together again, I am Sharon Reed, in for Dr. Ritchie, alongside Yasmin Aliya Khan today. This is Indisputable. Thanks so much for your support.